When you get halfway through that loan, what I would do is call the dealership and say, I want to cancel my gap coverage. Because by that point, you have flipped over, you're paying more on principal, you don't need gap anymore.
If you don't mind leaning forward just a touch, Pops. Yeah, but like shoulders, get the shoulders back, yeah. Really, like, stretch it out.
God, you're a pain in
You're such a pain in the ass, Zach.
Yeah.
I'm acutely aware of that.
Yeah.
Kimberly, it's good to have you
Okay.
back.
Hey,
How are
wait,
you doing?
let me fix my hair. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
One of the best
Hey!
intros. One of the best intros we've had so far.
Yeah,
for
let me
your
fix
auto
mine.
advocate. Yeah, all right, guys. I got a question for both of you. Kimberly, I'll toss it over to you first. I want to talk about
Okay.
gap insurance. Actually, I don't even know what the acronym stands for. Is it an acronym or is it
It is an
reference to?
acronym.
Okay, it's an acronym. You just spared me from potentially looking like a moron and equating gap to where I bought this little sweater. Kimberly, what is gap insurance? We have no videos on the channel about gap. Let's explain.
Okay, gap is guaranteed asset protection. Ta-da!
One of the quickest videos in your auto advocate history.
And what does
So-
that mean? What does that do?
All right, so here's what gap is in a nutshell. Let's put gap in a nutshell.
Okay.
Whenever you don't put a lot of money down, or many times you go in a little bit upside down with your trade, and you pull off the lot, you owe more on that loan than you do with what the insurance company is going to give you. So your insurance company, let's back up. You just bought yourself a new car, you pull off the lot and somebody hits you. Your insurance company is going to cut you a check for this amount and your loan is this amount. So for example, if you just took a loan out for $20,000 and your insurance company gives you $15,000, because we all know insurance companies really don't like to give us money, your gap coverage is going to pay that loan off in full. And you want to make sure that your gap insurance also pays your deductibles up to $1,000 for you as well, so that you have nothing out of pocket and you can turn around and get yourself into a new car, a new loan.
So gap insurance.
How's
No, that makes
was
sense.
good.
So general asset protection,
Guaranteed.
guaranteed asset
Guaranteed.
protection. Didn't finish college.
Yeah.
Guaranteed asset protection. So essentially, if my vehicle's worth less when I leave the dealership, which it will be because it's now a used car. So I guess that's the first question that comes to mind. Is Gap generally only sold for new vehicles, or is it sold on used vehicles as well? Also, we're near an airport, in case you didn't know. But
What?
there you go.
Yeah. Gap is it can be for new or used.
Is it traditionally
Yes.
sold for one or the other, or where do you sell
know,
more
the-
of them?
Finance people will try and sell it for. Well, I know of some finance people that would sell it on cars where somebody put 50% down and they didn't need the gap insurance. But gap insurance is available for both new and used cars, and is
It sure is.
and finance people will try and sell it on just about every customer that comes into the dealership.
So then, Kimberly, when is it worthwhile? When should I actually be purchasing gap insurance?
You should be purchasing gap insurance anytime you don't have a lot of equity into the vehicle when you pull off the lot. So I always had a kind of rule of thumb, $5,000 down or less.
Would be your threshold to say, okay, I'm going to get gap insurance?
Yes, that would be my threshold. Now, banks have come along. It is really nice because banks have come along and said on the approvals for customers, whether or not you can or cannot put gap, because as you said, Ray, many finance managers were putting gap coverage on vehicles where somebody had put $10,000 down or they had a lot of equity in their trade whenever
Yes.
they traded their vehicle. You can no longer do that.
Good.
But just to cover myself, I like to use the threshold of $5,000 or more. Now, don't take my word for it. I am not the insurance company. I have seen people get into a total loss, and they did put $5,000 down, and their insurance company still didn't give them enough money to pay that loan off. So to me, that's just my opinion. Certainly, it's up to you, the customer. You know,
Well,
if you put $6,000 down, you still might want to get the gap coverage.
Let's put it in perspective this way. Let's say somebody's buying a $50,000 car. and fees on that $50,000 car, usually about 10% of whatever the selling price was. So that $50,000 car with the fees is now $55,000. They're going to lose approximately 20% of the value of the car the minute they drive off the lot. So 20% of $50,000 is $10,000. So if they're financing $55,000 on a $50,000 car that's now, at the minute they drive off the lot, worth $40,000, in order to not need gap insurance, they would need to put about $15,000 down.
Got it.
There you go. That's
So
great.
my question,
Yes, right.
and this is to you, Dad.
Uh-oh.
I don't think when I bought my Volvo I got gap insurance, but I should have, it sounds like. Like, why'd you let me buy my Volvo without getting gap insurance? What's up with that, Dad?
What's up with that, Dad?
Come on, I'm curious, because I didn't get gap insurance, did I?
No, you did not get gap.
So that was a certified pre-owned used car that I bought.
Yes.
We traded in a car that was in your name.
Yes.
Like I had been driving.
Yeah, but you
Thanks,
had
Dad.
equity in it.
Had equity.
And you put down more money.
Oh, did I put money down?
Yes, you put money down.
Okay,
So that's
you've
probably
got
why
some
you
equity?
didn't need gap insurance, because I believe, if I remember correctly, you put $4,000 or $5,000 down or more.
These were the good old days, Kimberly.
Yeah, I mean,
Back when you had money, right?
Actually.
You bought a car that was $38,000 plus fees.
Yep.
And you financed about $32,000. So between money down and trade down, you were in a position where you wouldn't have needed gap insurance, which is probably
There
the
you go.
reason why I didn't suggest to you that you get gap insurance.
So for everyone watching at home,
Yes.
we did not plan that at all. I
Yes.
literally was actually wondering and kind of upset because we're talking about, hey, you should have got gap, but
Okay,
then you
well-
just explained.
Well, I'll share one with you with my father. When I was 21 years old, I had a situation where the muscles in my jaw would tighten and freeze, and I couldn't open my mouth. And he
Where is this
sent me to
going?
a specialized dentist. And the first thing the dentist said is, well, you have an uneven bite, and well, you need braces. Now, my father was a dentist, and I got home. I'm 21 years old. I get home, and I said to him, Dr. Upthegrave says I need braces. And I said, you're a dentist. You were a dentist. Why didn't I have braces? And my father's response to me was, well, you didn't ask for them. And I said, well, what 13-year-old asks for them? And he goes, well, if you want braces now, I'll pay for them. I said, well, what 21-year-old wants to try and pick up women wearing braces? What are you
With
doing to me?
braces?
So the difference is that my father, just because I didn't ask, I at least took care of you, knowing that you had enough down that you didn't have to.
Oh my God! Yeah,
You didn't
Zach.
need gap insurance.
I'm gonna get out of the scene and just let you guys finish up. So Kimberly,
Oh, by the way, I
Oh
still
my
need
gosh.
braces.
Kimberly, one other question for you. That was great, Dad.
Yeah,
One other question
sorry.
for you is
Yeah.
gap insurance built into? I think it's built into leases, right? So my lease payment already has it. That's one question. Second question, follow up, is what type of payment bump or what's the cost of gap insurance at the dealership, and like sense of margin markup in there? I think that'd be super helpful for our audience.
You don't need to. You as a consumer, you don't need to purchase gap on a lease. The lease company already has that built in, because you see, whenever you do a lease, you're both on it. You've got the bank and yourself on that on a lease, so they take care of that.
Yep.
So that is a nice incentive, I think, for leasing. I've leased cars before. I liked it. And what was the other question?
So then, how much? So obviously, it's built into the price of the lease. But if I'm financing and I
Yes.
get gap, what type of payment bump am I looking at? And then also, like, kind of the follow up
Oh.
is around like general cost and markup within the dealership.
Okay, so Gap is not very expensive, I will tell you that. It depends on your term as far as the bump in payment. So obviously, if you do 36 or 48 or 60 month, it's probably going to be anywhere from $15 to $20 a month. But you know, if you do a 72 month loan, you stretch it out a little bit, it'll keep your payment lower. But the markup in Gap coverage can be anywhere from $300 to $600.
Gotcha. So it's not as much of a money maker. Like, I mean, it is obviously a little bit of a profit center, but it's not like the extended warranty conversation we had, or maybe some of the other products.
Right. That's got a huge margin in it. Extended warranties have big margins, but as far as gap coverage, it's I call it a skinny one. It's a skinny one.
Kind of like my skinny jeans.
Like my skinny jeans. Gap is a skinny one.
You know, my last pair of skinny jeans came from Gap, but
Yeah.
unrelated to that would be I don't shop
Now, listen,
at Gap.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
No.
That's okay if you do,
No,
Zach.
he
It's
doesn't.
all right.
Trust me. My son, God bless him, if he doesn't have the opportunity to overpay for his clothes, he's not buying them.
Okay, unrelated
that
to
sounds like my
clothing,
son, too.
it is a really good takeaway to understand A, what guaranteed asset protection is. B, know that it's not necessarily it's a skinny upsell in the F&I office. If it's something that you
In most dealerships, it's a skinny upsell. That's not to say that a
Right.
gap insurance policy that might cost the dealership $249, that there aren't F&I people out there that wouldn't sell it for $9.99.
Gotcha.
That's
So like
right,
any
that's
other
right.
F&I product, it is still negotiable.
Yes, absolutely.
And then the other
is.
thing is the rule
But-
of thumb. Oh, go ahead, Kimberly.
Well, I just kind of had something to say about
Please.
this. For the consumer, you need gap the most from the moment you pull off that lot to halfway through your loan. So if you don't put any additional money on principal, during your loan term, and you just make every single payment, when you get halfway through that loan, what I would do is call the dealership and say, I want to cancel my gap coverage. Because by that point, you have flipped over, you're paying more on principal, you don't need gap anymore. So you need it the most from the day you pull off the lot to halfway through that loan. Just kind of keep that in mind. If you call the dealership and you cancel that, whatever's left, a prorated amount of whatever you paid for the gap coverage, will come off of the principal. Your payment doesn't change, but it will come off of your principal.
So your payoff would be reduced.
Yes, that's
Yes.
correct.
All right, that was perfect. Let's cut there. Also, what a fun time. That was like 15 minutes that I
What a
greatly
fun-
enjoyed.
yes,
So thank you
I-
guys for that.
Yeah. Want some braces?
Dr.
you had
Up the
braces.
Grave? Up
Yeah,
the
that
Grave?
was his name, Dr. Up the Grave. And I thought to myself, that's the worst name in the world for a doctor.
Yeah,
the
it
grave.
is.
Yeah.
It is.
Well,
Yeah.
anyway, all right. Thank you guys for your time. Really appreciate it. Kimberly, until next time, hopefully we'll have some more
Till next
cacti
time.
around us so that we can get to your level. We're working on it.
Yeah.
Always a good time.
Thanks, Kimberly.